Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another session with EMENNE. Today I want to address a critical issue which is affecting a lot of Nigerian families. A lot of families have been getting into crisis without the men of the family knowing that they are the reason why their families are getting into serious problem. Today, the title of my talk will be how men are turning their blessings into curses. And as is my usual practice, before I start, I always love to read a section from my book before we now get into the meat of the discussion for today. So today, once again, I'll be reading from my book titled The Strangest Financial Secrets, Rules for Living Happy in Tough Financial Times. The part I'll be reading about today is called Show Gratitude to Those Who Came to Your Aid. I have come to realize that in times of financial difficulties, God will send people to come to your aid. A lot of these people you will disappoint, while some may not come across your mind once they have gone. We have a habit of forgetting people that have helped us, especially when we have crawled out of our financial hole. I would love to use this medium to say a big thank you to the men and women who came to my aid when I was passing through deep waters. I did not live up to a lot of their expectations. I also disappointed a lot of them. But I know that when they see me now, they will be glad that they were part of my success story. And I wouldn't want to go through every other thing. But today, I really want to look at how men are destroying their family without knowing it. How most men have been turning the blessings in their family into curses. Now, I want to share a little story of what happened to me about 5 years ago. You know, when I was passing through some very tough financial challenges, then I used to go out marketing with my wife. Now, on a particular day, as we were about to leave the house, we had some arguments in the house. And as we were leaving, both of us left the house and we just started to go on our marketing round. And between the 8 o'clock a.m. when we left in the house, up to about 3 p.m. in the afternoon, we visited a lot of our customers, but we were not able to make a single sale. Now, as we were going about, I just remember something about the book of Malachi, where God said that He will not take our blessings, He will not answer our prayers, because of how we dealt with the wife of our youth. So when I remember this part of the Bible, I turned to my wife and I say, sweetheart, why are you still angry now? Okay, sorry for whatever happened in the house. And she accepted my apologies and we continued. The next shop we went to, what we sold in that single shop was equivalent of what we normally sell in 1 week. Now, I'm coming to this, I'm sharing these stories because since I started doing a lot of series on marriage and relationship, I've been getting an amazing number of calls and visits of people to my house. And most of them are women whom their husbands have been taken for granted. And most times, these men, from the story that these women have been sharing with me, they started their attitude when things started to get better for them. So today I want to warn most of the men who are listening to me that without you knowing it, though your life might be full of blessings now, but with the way you are treating your wife, you are gradually turning those blessings to curses in your life without knowing it. You know, a lot of young men who are married, most of them have things are starting to turn up very well for them. Things are getting from bad to worse and even great for them. Now, men easily forget where they are coming from. Most of us, when things start to get very good for us, we forget where we are coming from. You know, if you have read any of my books, one of the things you find me repeating in all my books is the challenges I faced. There are times when even just feeding my family was a huge challenge for me. In fact, when I had my first child, I was always praying for God to send people to my house because it was the money that these people donated to us when it came to see our baby that we were going to use to feed for the week. Things have gotten better for me, much better for me now. But I have never forgotten where I was coming from. A lot of you men, things are getting better for you. And most of you have forgotten the difficult days, the difficult time that the major support you had then was your wife. Most men now have ignored their wife because they feel things are okay for them, and they start to look at the good day, the good time that they are in, without knowing that there was a time that when things were very bad, there were people who were praying for them, there were people who were encouraging them. You need to look at how you are treating the wife of your youth. God specifically warned us, especially men, on how we treat the wife of our youth. That he will not listen to our prayers, he will not listen to our blessings, because of the way we have been neglecting the wife that God has given to us. Now, and most times we think that the sudden explosion in our wealth, the sudden blessings we are getting is because of our wisdom. And when we think that, okay, it's because of the new skills we have acquired, it's because of the new talent that we acquired, that is why things have started to turn around for us. And we forget the difficult times. And we forget the number of prayers we used to say. And we forget how our wife used to support us, how our wife used to encourage us. I can tell you that if you think that it's by your wisdom or by your skill or talent, if you look around you, you can find people who have more talent than you and who are passing through some very difficult challenges. Recently, on Vanguard newspaper, there was the story of a former vice chancellor of University of Port Harcourt. This man was living in a very horrible situation and dilapidated house. I can tell you that because you are very educated, because you are very enlightened, don't think that what you are gaining now is because of your knowledge. In one of my small messages, he talked about a Nigerian professor he met sweeping floor in UK. This guy had 2 doctorate degrees. So don't think it's because you are so intelligent. If you look around you, you can find millionaires who are used to be very rich and who are very poor now. Don't think it's because of your wealth. The blessings of God are what has made you rich. The support of God is what has made you rich. And the way that that blessing can turn into a curse is by the way you are treating the wife of your youth. The way you've been neglecting her, the way you've been ignoring her, is part of the reason why God will remember one day and hear her cry. The way she has been praying to God to answer her prayer. And one way of that God will answer her prayer is to remove that wealth that you are depending on. You better don't take God for granted. You better start to understand that the wealth you are enjoying today, the success you are enjoying today is neither by your power nor by your might. That God is the one who has given you that blessing. And part of the reason why he's giving you is because he made you, he said that he had joined you and your wife together. And he doesn't want anything to put you asunder. That's why he has given you the blessings that you are enjoying now. Don't think that it's because you are great. Don't think because you are wonderful. Don't be the reason why this union that God has put together should be crushed. I have a lot of people who are calling me, and I said there is no reason why the marriages should be passing what they are passing through. Just because you are successful, just because of the blessing that God has given you, is not enough reason for you to destroy the marriage that he has given to you. God has given you children who are looking up to you. And they see the way you are treating their mother. You don't understand that children emulate what they see their parents do. How do you expect this young child, the daughter that God has given you, to grow up to respect a man in her life? How do you expect your son to treat the women that will come up in his life later? And you don't know that God will use these things to judge you in life. You men listening to me, watching me, need to know that it's time that you start to change your marriages. Stop taking the wives in your house for granted. I also need to understand that because you are up now does not mean that you stay up. Yes, things have gotten from bad to good for you. Don't always assume that because things are very good now that it will remain good for you. Because he that brought you up can also take you down. I know a lot of politicians who were doing very well before and suddenly are in very serious financial mess. There was I can remember a young man who, during the first, in 1999, came from a very poor background. And he just put in and filled in as, He joined a party and he was nominated to run for a particular post. Nobody expected him to win, but still turned out he suddenly won. And when this man won and joined the House of Assembly, suddenly wealth decided to come. And this young man that used to be very humble started to treat people in despicable ways. He started to feel that the wealth he had was because of his effort. He started to talk arrogantly to people around him. And just like, you know, in the next 4 years came about, and the next election came up, and he lost. And in less than 2 years, this man that was so pompous found himself, he couldn't even maintain a single car. I can tell you that because you are up now, you are doing very well now, doesn't mean that you will remain up. And it's that woman who was around you when you were going up, that the way you are treating her, don't expect that when things start to be difficult for you, that she still remain there for you. You know, where I come from, there used to be the richest man in my village used to be very rich. But a few years ago, this man died. And at the point he was dying, he could not feed himself. In fact, he was going about the village asking for people to help him, to give him a little change so that he could feed himself. How come a man who had houses all over the nation suddenly could not even feed himself? I can tell you that because you are up now doesn't mean that you remain up. And that woman that you are making to weep around you, that woman who is looking at you, and you are going around, flirting around, you are dating all young women around you, because you feel that there's so much money for you now that you can do anything that you can with the money you have. You're carrying women all around, and even in your pocket, when you come back, she's finding condoms in your house, in your pocket. Don't assume that things will remain for you the way they are. You feel that yes, you can go out, you come out by 12 a.m. or you come out by 3 a.m. in the night, that yes, you are the man of the house. Don't assume that the blessings that you are carrying in your house now, that it will continue to be with you. If God has stated in His word, and His word does not change, His word is constant, and He has stated in Malachi 2:14 that He will stop to receive the blessings from you. He will start to receive your offerings, and the thing will start to get difficult for you because of the way you are treating your wife. Don't assume that it's just a misnomer in the Bible. If God has declared this thing and you are doing those things that He said you should not do to your wife, I can tell you that when He starts to get to you, you'll be amazed at how things can get from great to horrible in your life. And one thing you also need to understand is that no one has a monopoly of evil. Because you feel you have money that you can go about and carry girls and all around, don't just assume that your wife too cannot also do the same thing. Don't assume that your wife too cannot date other men. And don't assume that she cannot even decide to poison you, to render you useless. You know, I was listening to T.D. Jakes a few years back, and he said that one day his wife, his mother and his father were going out, and they went to visit a young woman whose husband has been mistreating. He said that his father used to be a hot-tempered man. So one day they went to visit this family. And when they saw the wife looked at, his mother saw how the husband just brutalized his wife. And when they got to the car as they were going, he said his mother turned to his father and said, "See, Mr. Jakes, make sure that any day you ever touch me, make sure that you kill me that day. Because if you don't, while you are sleeping in the night, I will boil hot oil and pour it through your ear." He said after that day, that his father will shout, but never ever touch his mother. See, don't assume that your wife will just leave you. You might mistreat her, you might abuse her. But don't assume that one day she might not be pushed to the wall, that she'll go and buy acid and pour into your 2 eyes. And that way you now know what you used to see to all those women that you're running around. Don't invite the evil outside into your home. You feel that you can use your eyes to see. All she needs to do is to drop 2 drops of acid on your eyes. You feel that your manhood, you can use it to play around. All she needs to do is to use something to cut it off for you. I'm saying this thing because I've seen the evil that most men are perpetuating within their wife. I've seen the evil that men are bringing into their home, and they are playing with it, and they are assuming that yes, then their wife can do anything. Because the Lord is maintaining your wife doesn't mean that she too does not have some evil that she can bring into the family to destroy your home. Understand that the evil that you are perpetuating now in your family upon your wife does not mean that she does not know what to do. Everybody has a point beyond which you cannot push them. The day you push her beyond the point is the day that when she starts to react, you'll be amazed at what she can do. A certain man one day decided that he wants to send his wife out. And in the middle of the night, when he told her that, this woman fled up and started to rake and make so much noise. And he started to feel so embarrassed. He started to plead with her, please, sweetheart, please calm down, calm down. I'll not do what I said I would do. There's a point beyond which you can push a woman and she'll start to fight back. And you might not enjoy what she will fight back with. Now, for the women too, I think also part of the reason why the blessings in your family might be turned to curses is because women are also part of the reason why their men are treating them in certain ways. For instance, what I always advise the young men, women who come around me is, never accept to be a housewife from day one. Part of the reason why men would mistreat their wife is because they feel the women depend on them for everything. From day one, before you get married, establish for your husband that, see, this is what I want to do with my life. If it doesn't suit you, then don't marry me. Don't accept to be a housewife. And stay clearly from day one the things you will not tolerate from your husband. And when you get home, see, as much as possible, all the battles you need to fight in your relationship, establish and fight them within the first, second year of your marriage. Because if you say, okay, let there not be issues, and you just allow certain things to pass, I can tell you that you've given a man the leverage to mistreat you later in life. If you see him start to stare at women, correct him and reprimand him from day one. Let him understand that this nonsense I will not tolerate. Because when you start to allow him to tolerate, when you start to tolerate certain things about him, he will start to take you for granted. There are certain rules you must set out from day one in your family and make sure that this mess do not come into your family. Especially, I found out that most women who are housewives get to be mistreated because you start to depend on your husband for almost everything. The more you depend on a man, the more he will disrespect you, the more he will mistreat you. So the issue of that our children is growing up, that you need to stay in the home to take care of them, for Christ's sake. The children who are taken to crèche, how many of them turned out to be very useless? Don't allow your children to be the excuse why you put your life on standstill. Go out and do something with your life. God did not create you to take care of children alone. He had a reason beyond taking care of children and why he put you on the planet. Find out why God created you and start to do something with your life. And you know what? When you start to do something and you start to generate income, your husband will start to also respect you the more. The another important thing I also advise women to do is start to control what is listened to and watched in your house. You allow your husband watch a lot of these home videos. You allow him to watch a lot of these sexually explicit videos. And you think that after watching these things, you want to try to practice them outside. You must control what is watched and listened to in your house as a woman. One of the things I always advise every young woman that calls me with marital problems is, see, every morning download messages of people like T.D. Jakes, Miles Monroe, Mensa Otterbills. Download their messages, and every morning once you wake up, start to play this thing in your house. You need to make sure that your husband listens to at least 1 hour of inspiring messages, of messages that will keep him on track before he leaves the house. When it's what we listen to is what we meditate upon. And what a man meditates upon, as a man thinks, that's who he will become. So if you generate the things that he will think about by making him listen to messages from these great men of God, people like Jim Rohns, Les Brown, when he listens to these things, when he goes to work throughout the day, those are the things he'll be meditating upon. These are the things he'll be thinking about. But if you just allow him to just watch all these Nollywood videos, those are the things he'll be thinking about. And the more he thinks about it, the more he starts to notice the young girl and women around him. And he wants to experiment with the things he's been watching in the house. Control the things you allow your husband to watch. Control the books he reads. Go out and buy books for him and get him to read these books. See, most men are like sheep. When you leave a sheep, it will wander about. But what a shepherd does is following the sheep, and with his staff is directing the sheep to where he wants it to go. If you don't become the shepherd of your house and shepherd of your husband, and you take out time to gradually control what he listens to, what he reads, and what he watches, I can tell you that he will become a wayward man. And also, it must be clear to you who are your friends and who are your acquaintances. Be careful of those who come into your life when things start to become wonderful for you. Those who were not in your life when things were difficult for you, always classify them as acquaintances and never move them into the categories of friends. I was once listening to Felix Ohiweri, the former chairman of Nigerian breweries, and he was asked how many friends does he have? He said he has very few friends and a lot of acquaintances. That young men must know the difference between friends and acquaintances. That when he started out in life, he used to have people he used to call his friends. And he found out that he went out a lot, he womanized a lot, he drank a lot. And that one day, as he was about to rush off to work, he wanted to carry his by then he was already a manager. He wanted to carry his young child to hug him before he went out to work, and this young boy ran away from him. And his daughter now told me, I said, Daddy, he does not know you. If you stay in the house more, he will know you and allow you to carry him. He said his briefcase dropped out of his hand. And he sat down and he looked at his children. He said that day he did not go to work again. And that from that day on, once it was 6, 7 p.m., he came home to the house and started to play with his family. And his warning was that anything that will take you out of your house, any friend that will take you out of your house after 8 p.m., that is a bad influence on you. So look at those who are constantly taking you out of your home beyond 8, 9, 10 and keeping you outside your home for almost every day by 8, 9, 10. I can tell you those are bad influences on you, and they will wreck your family for you. Do not be deceived by them and think that, oh, these are my friends. They are acquaintances. Friends will not try to destroy your home for you. Also look at, there's one thing I also advise every young man. And it was one of the things that I think helped my marriage. Once I meet any young girl, I try to get my wife to meet that young woman. Because sometimes you might see a relationship and feel, oh, this is a harmless relationship. Before you know it, you find yourself talking more to that woman, to that young woman. Before you know it, you start to get emotionally attached to that young girl. And from emotional attachment, sexual relationship will start to develop. But when you allow your wife to get to know all your female friends, they call you, say, oh, my wife will also want to speak with you. Then that girl knows that you don't mess with me. And when you also allow your wife access to your phone and to your email, see, my wife, I deliberately gave my wife the password to all my emails. She had access to all my phones. That way, any girl that sends any message, know that my wife will read it. When you start to do this, you start to cut off certain things that will come into your life. Certain bad influences that will come into your life and come in to destroy your marriage and your relationship. And also understand your immediate family comes first. There's something that you need to know, that once you start to become successful, almost everybody who has at one point and the other know you, especially your extended family, will feel they have a right over you, and will start to make a huge amount of demand on you. Always realize that your family comes first. Take care of your wife, your children before any other person. Make sure that your wife and your children are well catered for before your extended family. And make sure that also your brothers and your sisters are catered for before your extended family and before your friends. Families come first. Take care of your children, take care of your wife, take care of your mother and your father and your extended family. Now, the next part I want to talk about is how we turn our blessings. How we pray in problems into our family, rather. And I want to read it from my other book. And before I go, I want to share something from my book, which I think is important. And it has to do with a story about Hezekiah. Now, most of us might know the story of Hezekiah, where when Hezekiah was sick, Hezekiah prayed, and God came to tell Hezekiah that he was going to die, that he should put his house in order. And Hezekiah prayed. Well, let me just read from my book. Say, we must be careful to avoid the danger of Hezekiah's prayer and weeping. Hezekiah was one of the best kings the nation of Judah had ever known. In fact, the Bible said some of the things he did for God have never been done before by any king or leader in Israel. He took down and destroyed all the temples Solomon built for idols. He destroyed the bronze snake which Moses made that the Israelites had started to worship. In fact, he was on fire for God. Then Hezekiah felt the wrath of God on him in form of a sickness. God then sent his prophet Isaiah to King Hezekiah to tell him to put his house in order because he was about to die. When Hezekiah heard this, he turned his face to the wall and wept bitterly and prayed to God. He reminded God of all he had been doing for God. He then missed a vital point that everybody that prays when he feels the strike of the wrath of God on him must add to his prayer, which is, "But let your will be done in this situation, Lord, and not mine." God did not want to seem like an ungrateful God, even if the direction he was pointing Hezekiah was change of address to heaven. God extended Hezekiah's lifespan by 15 years. Because of that extra time, the greatest evil force ever unleashed on a nation was born. The evil was called Manasseh. Manasseh became king at the age of 12, meaning that he was born in the third year of Hezekiah's extra 15 years. Manasseh was so evil that a kind of sin was called the sin of Manasseh. It is documented in Jewish history that Manasseh ordered the execution of prophet Isaiah by having him cut into two. During his reign, the Bible said that innocent blood flowed freely on the street of Jerusalem. Even after Manasseh repented and was forgiven by God, God could not bear the atrocity of Manasseh, the atrocity Manasseh had committed, that insisted that the nation of Judah must pay a price for the spilled innocent blood that cried out to God for justice. Why am I saying this? It's actually from my book called The King's Secret Code for Success, which you can actually get free of charge if you buy any of my books. So if you order for The Strangest Financial Secrets, you can actually get this one for free. You can get it on Konga, www.konga.com, and you search for Strangest Financial Secret, or you just type in my name, EMENNE IFEANYI. Or you can just call me on 080-2362-2171 on how you can get it, because you can pay into our account and we can send it to you. So for some reason, that is how people would prefer to get the book. So call me on 080-2362-2171 and then you can get the 2 books. So what I'm saying is that a lot of families, when they are passing through some difficult financial challenges, will be praying, "God bless my family, bless my husband." What you must add in the prayer of blessings, "But God, let your will also be done in my family." Most time when we pray for blessings, we keep on praying for blessing and we are reminding God for all the things we are doing for him. And we pray like Hezekiah. And in the course of praying, we don't know when we activate a Manasseh into our family. Manasseh would not have been born if Hezekiah had said, "Lord, let your will be done." I can tell you that when you are praying and you don't pray for the will of God, God might start to bless your husband. God might start to bless you. But in that blessing too, might start to attract challenges and causes that you are not even prepared for. Though the blessings of God make it rich and add no sorrow to it. But you need to understand that when God starts to bless you, that the devil also will start to notice your blessing and will start to come to attack you at that particular moment. And you start to come to distract you. Look at most of the developed nation, what is happening there. Most of them are abandoning God because when they prayed for God's blessing and God started to bless them, when God started to bless them massively, most of them have started to abandon God. And the challenges, the atrocities that are happening in them are now happening because they prayed for blessing of God. He came and they did not ask, but God, let your will also be done in this situation in our nation. You must learn to add. That is why Jesus was so different and very great. Because when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, I was saying, God, let this cup pass over me. Take away this cup of sorrow from me. But he always added, let your will be done. When you pray for the will of God to be done, he can decide to extend some of the blessings that he would have come into your life for a longer period of time. So that when they come, they will not come. The devil, by that time, you'll be emotionally strong to handle any challenges that the devil will bring into your life. I want you to understand these things about blessings. That is part of the reason why what most women need to do is you must work on building your spouse emotionally and spiritually before building up his wealth and praying for so much blessing on him. Get your husband to be spiritually developed. Get him to emotionally develop, such that when blessing starts to come into your life and into your family, it does not distract him and he starts to see himself as the source of the blessing. And he starts to take you for granted. Start to get him emotionally developed. Get him to attend seminars. Get him to attend courses. Get him to attend marriage seminars, marriage relationship seminars. Get him to attend business seminars. So that when God starts to bless you, he does not start to take you for granted. And also, you need to understand as a woman, you must develop yourself to match your husband's current status. Most women tend to leave themselves when their husband has been blessed the way they were when things were difficult for them. If you don't develop yourself, your husband sees himself doing very well and he looks as his wife, she's almost an embarrassment to him. And what he starts to do is to look outside, to look at people who have developed like he is. So you too need to start to develop yourself. When you notice that things are getting better in your family, start to develop yourself. If you're not a graduate and you find out that things are starting to attend. There's this National Open University that you can attend. Go for your masters. Expand yourself. Develop yourself. Stop looking shabby. Pay attention to your looks. Pay attention to your vocabulary. Treat yourself well. So that when your husband comes and sees you, he can see a woman who is developed, who is mature. And not that when he comes in, and when he's doing very well, he comes into his house and sees somebody who is looking like a house girl. Develop yourself. Make up well. Don't just make up when you are going out. Stop. Most women, it's only when they are going out that they make themselves look fine. And when your husband comes out and sees you in the house, you are looking shabby, all your makeup, you wash them out, your hair is disheveled, you are looking unkempt. And you expect him to keep on valuing you. Start to develop yourself. And most importantly, there's something I think is very critical. When God started to bless me, one day I asked myself, why am I doing so well? Why is things so suddenly turning around for me? And I realized that God was giving me wisdom, understanding, and a general heart, which was the blessings he gave to Solomon. And I asked myself, Solomon was blessed mightily by God. And he deviated. I'm like, why did Solomon deviate? I found out that it was because Solomon did not put anything that would remind him of where his blessing was coming from. And I told myself that I don't think I'm wiser than Solomon. So that I needed to have something that would remind me constantly of what was the source of my blessing. Because my blessing, I did not read business management. I did not do any master's degree or any MBA. How come I'm teaching people how to run successful businesses? I need to tell myself that this blessing was a blessing from God and not by my power or by my strength. And one of the things I promised myself that I wanted to have a system that would remind me constantly of where I was coming from. And what I did was, I said, God, for the rest of my life, I will never wear a suit. Any day I'm in a place that every other person is wearing a suit and wearing my shirt, I'm just wearing my shirt and my tie, it will remind me where my blessing is coming from. And any day I stand up to deliver a seminar or to do a seminar and I'm not wearing it, I know that I'm expected to wear a suit and I'm not wearing it, it will remind me that the wisdom I'm sharing is not coming from me, but it's a gift from God, and I'll need to constantly be aware of it. You need to also have a reminder in your life and in your family of where you're coming from. And one thing you also must ensure is that you pray together as a family. As a woman of the house, always pray for your husband. Men are facing an enormous amount of temptation. So recently I heard a young woman, a married woman, say that she really pities most men these days. That she, as a woman, when she sees what young women are wearing and exposing to the men around, that she really, even as a woman, that she stares at some of these young girls. Not to talk of a man who is naturally built to look at women. It means that on your own, you need to fortify your husband with a lot of spiritual prayer. And stop castigating him. Stop complaining all the time. You are doing this. No, start to pray for your husband. Lord, I thank you for giving me a wonderful man. A man who is caring and a man who is loving. And also start to appreciate your man. Every day, tell him something wonderful. You need to understand something. Every man craves appreciation. Every man craves attention. And that is part of the reason why some men will start to go outside to get the appreciation and attention. When you don't show an interest in what your husband does, when you don't appreciate him, when you don't tell him, oh wow, you are looking nice today, your shirt is looking fine, your tie is looking fine, your shoe is looking fine. Or any day he comes back he buys something from the family, you don't tell him, oh wow, this is wonderful. I can tell you that you start to seek for attention somewhere else. There's something that my wife does that, without me even thinking about it, has made me try to do so. Any day I buy anything in the house, she was always, wow, Daddy has bought this thing for us in the house. And that makes me feel special. And because I want that kind of attention, I go out of my way to get extra things in the house. The moment you start to shower your husband with attention and you start to show more appreciation for the little things that he is doing, he will go out of his way to do more for you. And for those of you who are passing through some serious family challenges, I want to join hands with you to just share a little prayer with you. I want to pray that the Lord that joined you together will keep you. I want to pray that the good Lord who brought you together will sustain you. Just as he brought Adam and Eve together and he kept them together, that the Lord will continue to keep you together. I want to pray that the Lord will give you the wisdom that he gave to Mary. So that though she was the mother of Jesus, she always stayed in the background without trying to show herself off. I want to also pray that the Lord will give you the blessing that he showered on Deborah. That despite the fact that she could have won the victory, she asked Barak to go and do what she could have done. I want to pray that the Lord will give your husband the blessings that he showered on all the apostles and disciples of Jesus. I want to pray that the Lord will bless you. I want to pray that the Lord will keep your family. I want to pray that the light of God will be before your family and the pillar of cloud will be behind you. I want to pray that all the rivers that your family is facing at this particular moment, that you raise up the rod of your tongue and that you divide that river before you. I want to pray that by the words of your mouth, by the rod of your mouth, that those seeds before you, that as you speak the word of God into your family, into the life of your husband, that those seeds that seems to be before you, that is trying to destroy your family, that seed will be parted for you in your life today. I want to pray that your footsteps will be guided by the Lord. That just as the Joshua ordered the priests to step forward and they put their legs in the river Jordan and he parted, that so as you step forward, that your steps will be ordered by the Lord, and that the things that you'll be stepping into will be bringing your family together. that those rivers that seem to be pushing your husband away from you, that those rivers will feel your footsteps and they will pattern for you, and your family will be moved through all those rivers trying to destroy you. And may the Lord bless you, and may the Lord keep you. May the Lord give his hand, shower his light upon you and give you peace. And for those of you, our seminar that will be coming up shortly, on the 15th of February of this month, I strongly suggest that for those of you who are in Lagos, attend. It's called the Business of Marriage Seminar. We want to look at how you can run a very successful marriage this particular year. Look at the things you need to put in place to make your family a very wonderful one. So for those of you who can attend, I'll suggest you call us on 080-2362-2171 so that we can give you direction and instruction on how to attend. You can also watch my other videos on Facebook, on Rich Nigerian Mentor, or on YouTube, Rich Nigerian Mentor on YouTube. So like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube video so that once we upload any video, you get them directly to your mail. And also, if you know any friend who is passing through some marital challenges, share this video with him or her so that we can learn to build families in this trying time. And may the Lord bless each and every one of us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.